So I apologize. For some reason it kicked me out. I am Ms. Mora, the College and Career Specialist, and I am here with Ms. Bateman from West Orange and Ms. Lorenzana from Windermere. And we are your College and Career Specialists. We're here for you to answer any questions and to help you with the entire college application process. You can see our different websites, and on the screen you also see the main place where you can get access to resources and information, and that is through our respective college and career sections or student services sections in the student Canvas page. Can you guys hear me well? The student said that I sound muffled, and I'm not sure if that's me or...
I can hear you okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So today you're going to get some information, not just about college, but just a general, kind of superficial view of your different post-secondary options. And then since the majority of you are college bound, we're going to focus a little bit more on that. But basically, we want you to know that you have a wide variety of options with regards to your post-secondary plan. The majority of you are going to look at a four-year college or university. Those are the ones where you earn a bachelor's degree, like UCF, the University of Florida, Harvard. I apologize for the EJ on this slide. This was initially in Spanish, and I realized I didn't translate that, for example. Many of you are also going to select a two-year college. In Florida, they're known as state colleges. In other places, they're known as community colleges, such as Valencia, Seminole State, Santa Fe, TCC, etc. Some of you don't necessarily want to spend a lot of time in school, and you want to focus on something that's going to get you a career right out of high school. So you're going to pursue a technical school program. Think Orange Technical. So they have anything from digital video production to commercial driver's license to cosmetology, HVAC, electrician, etc. So those programs are at the technical school. They're highly specialized, and they can go anywhere from a 6-week program to maybe a 2-year program. The thing to keep in mind with technical schools is that there are public ones like Orange Technical that are very inexpensive and straight to the point. And then there are the private ones, which sometimes have a name attached to them. For example, when you're going to pursue cosmetology, you can go to Orange Technical and earn your license in facials or in nails or in hairdressing or barbering, or you can go to Aveda or Paul Mitchell and basically earn the exact same certificate, but with the name of Aveda and Paul Mitchell attached to it. Usually that also comes at a price that is much more expensive than if you were just going to do it at Orange Technical. So when you are learning about your options, keep that in mind. Many of you are going to pursue the military, and we'll talk about those options later. And then some of you are going to just go straight into the workforce. Either way, whichever one of those options you select, we are here for you to help you, to give you the resources to help you explore. And if you have to do a combination of those, then we're here as well. Okay, so college or university. When you're talking about a particular four-year college or university, most of us think in terms of time, but really a bachelor's degree, which is what most of you associate with a four-year degree, is actually 120 credits. The reason why we say it's a four-year degree is because most of you, if you go to school full-time, will take 5 classes in the fall and 5 in the spring, or you might break it up and then do some in the summer. But either way, you'll most likely end up with 30 credit hours every year times the 4 years. That's 120 credits. Each class is about 3 credit hours, which is also the same amount of time that you will spend in the classroom meeting with that teacher. So you may select a class that is going to be an hour on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or maybe an hour and a half on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Or maybe if you're working full time, you'll just take one class once a week for 3 hours. So you'll have a lot of flexibility in selecting your schedule. And so basically, if you do that for the 4 years, that's your bachelor's degree. It usually is 2 years of your general education requirements, and then 2 years of your major or your core classes in the area that you have selected. And then any of you that want to pursue grad school, then that's above and beyond those initial 4 years. So if you want to pursue a master's degree, or if you want to go to law school or medical school or dentistry school, that is in addition to those 4 years. Some of you are lifelong learners and you want to continue with your schooling and you'll go all the way to your doctoral degree and then want to continue with postdoctoral information, you can do that as well. Of course, we're going to focus on the 4-year degree because that's what most of you are pursuing. The benefits are that you are going to get that quintessential college experience that you may know about or see on TV, right? You're going to go stay in the dorms or in your apartment with your roommates. You'll have clubs and activities that you can get involved in. If you're interested in Greek life, being a member of fraternity or a sorority, you'll be able to do that in a traditional college campus. Many of you are pursuing science or STEM-related fields, and you want to have access to research opportunities. The 4-year universities are the ones that have the most funds to facilitate that for you. Now, we do have the 2-year state colleges, and they're getting better and better, and many of them are going to give you the same opportunities that you're going to get at a 4-year university, but at a fraction of the cost. The state colleges are also especially good in that they are taking into consideration what are the needs of our local community. So if you want, for example, a program where you're going to have a higher likelihood of getting a job in Central Florida, the state colleges are very much in tune with that, and they will have programs at the school that are needed in our community. You're also going to save a lot of money because the tuition at Valencia or Seminole State is half of what it's going to be at a 4-year university like UCF. Some of you have the dream of going to FSU or the University of Florida, but academically, you're not necessarily at that profile. So a state college is going to give you a clean slate where you're going to start a brand new GPA and be more supported, and then maybe continue on with your degree after you complete the first 2 years at your dream school. Many of them have a direct connect program. So for example, if you're interested in UCF, but you want to save some money and stay at home the first 2 years, you can do the direct connect program, start at Seminole State or Valencia, and then transfer to UCF. At that point, you let Valencia or Seminole State know, I want to go to UCF through the direct connect program, and then they will make sure that you're taking the classes that you need. Keep in mind with direct connect, there are many other universities that have agreements with the state colleges, usually in their kind of local area. And if you want to do that, you need to understand that you will be guaranteed acceptance to the university, but not necessarily to the program that you're interested in. So this applies to limited access programs such as nursing. You still need to be a competitive student to be able to get a spot in that particular program. And so the university may say, well, we can't take you in nursing, but you can come in under any of these other majors. And the other good thing is that many of them, as I said before, are offering research opportunities. They're offering honors programs. Some of the state colleges in Florida even have dorms. So if you just want to save some money, but leave the house and stay at a dorm and have a more college experience without the price tag, Valencia has a dorm in their downtown campus. IRSC in Fort Pierce is a state college and they have dorms. Hillsborough also has dorms. There's a few of those that are like that. So keep an open mind when you're exploring. You want to take this, Ms. Bateman?
Sure, absolutely. So the state university system in Florida is one of the best in the nation. We're not just saying that. You as a Florida student have access to a wide variety of not only public universities as well as private. So we're going to talk about the public universities for a moment, which is the state university system. Sometimes it's called the SUS, but it's twofold. Because we have such a great university system, that means it's very competitive, not just in the state of Florida, but around the nation. UF, FSU, UCF, notoriously, those colleges get about 40, 50, or 60,000 applicants a year. And that's not just Florida students, that's students around the nation. So we're going to break down a little bit. We're not going to go too far into data and specific GPA and SAT and ACT ranges. Also, what I want to say before we speak about that is the data that we're about to present to you is from the class of 2020. So we don't have the current class of 2021's information until about September. These 12 universities have they kind of travel around the state in the month of August to give us all the new data. And Orange County, we are going to have it in the first week in September. So within the first week of September, we're going to have a brand new set of data from the class that just graduated. So be looking at this information with a grain of salt, because when you're seeing the GPA, the first thing I want to speak about is that is not the GPA that is represented on your transcript. Most of the universities represented on the screen will kind of reevaluate you and recalculate your GPA, meaning they're only looking at your core academics, math, science, social studies, math, science, English, and then usually world languages. And so when they're saying a 4.1 to a 4.5 GPA for FSU, they're only looking at a very specific amount of classes, not every single class you've taken in high school. Not all of them recalculate, but most of them recalculate. The other piece that I want to talk about is these are averages. So students above these numbers are getting into these schools, but students below these numbers and averages are getting admitted into these universities as well. So don't be defeated or shocked. Oh my gosh, my GPA is not what it needs to be, or testing. We have strategies and tricks to talk about that. I think the next slide has the matrix. So we were representing just the 4 top universities in Florida that get the most applications, but here are all of the public universities. Again, we're going to get all new data for your class of 2020 based off of the previous class in September. So these numbers could go up, they could go down. They change a little bit from year to year.
Now, as you are looking at this, there's a couple of things that we want to highlight. Number one, in the state of Florida, you guys have a wide variety of options. For example, Florida Poly is one of the newest universities. It is a highly specialized university where all they teach is computer science and engineering degrees. New College is called a liberal arts college. It's a very unique college for very unique students as well. FAMU is one of the top highest ranked historical Black colleges and universities. As you know, UF is a very popular university. It's ranked number 5 in the national colleges and universities, public universities. And so you have a little bit of everything, and we highly encourage you, when you are considering schools, to keep an open mind. Most of you tend to look north to FSU and UF, and you have a ton of really great options in FAU and Boca, in FIU in Miami, of course USF in Tampa, etc. So if you're looking for a medium-sized school or even a smaller school, definitely look into FGCU and UNF.
Yep.
So again, explore, come to the different college visits that we will be having in the first 9 weeks, so that you can learn about all of them. Now, this is the not a full list of the private colleges and universities in Florida, but there are a lot of private colleges and universities. They are more expensive, but they also offer a lot more financial aid because they have more money and less applicants. So what you get out of a private university, for the most part, is that you're going to have smaller classes, more customer service, a lot more attention to who you are as an individual, and keep in mind that they are less competitive. So many times, when we're talking about that college list that we just mentioned, it's always a good idea to include 1 or 2 private schools in your list, because you never know whether you may be in that 50% range for a public university, but you'll be well above that for a private school, and they may offer you a lot more money, which may make it comparable. So again, keep an open mind. And here, just like in the public universities, you have a wide variety of options as well. You have highly specialized schools in science and technology like FIT or Florida Tech and Embry-Riddle, but then you also have Advent Health, which is strictly healthcare areas. If you are, if you're a Christian student and you really want a school that has that population and you're very connected to that particular community, I would encourage you to look at Florida Southern or Palm Beach Atlantic and so on. So again, you have a wide variety of options here too. I'm not going to go into detail too much about the Super Scholars Initiative, except to tell you that it's really important that all of you check your email, especially when it's coming from us in senior year, because a lot of our emails are tailored and we don't always just send math emails. A lot of times it's, hey, this is a program for you because of your GPA or your gender or the fact that you're a first generation college student or whatnot. Super Scholars is geared towards our top 10 to 15% of our student population. OCPS wanted our students, our top students, to know that they have access and can potentially be accepted to some of the top universities in the nation, just like some of these competitive private schools can. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to let you know, hey, you're a potential super scholar. These are the opportunities for these universities. These are potential scholarships to consider, etc. So we'll invite you at each of our respective high schools to probably an information session such as this one, and we'll talk to you about what it means to be a super scholar. Similar to what we just showed you with the state university system matrix, we want to show you what the super scholar matrix looks like. And basically what we did is we took the top 20 national colleges and universities and the top 20 liberal arts colleges and liberal arts colleges. And we basically just kind of did some of the salient information, the highlights that you may want to know about so that you guys can take a look at, yes, I can see that I'm in the GPA. I can see that I'm in the testing, range. I do want to point out that many of these universities are much more expensive, but they are much more generous with their financial aid packages. And for some of you, especially if you have financial need, many of them are going to meet your entire financial aid need to be able to attend that university. So again, there's a few of you where it will be cheaper to actually attend one of these top universities than to stay at a state school. I do want to point out many of these, as you can see, you may have heard from, but some of them you may not have heard from. They're still top universities. So if you are looking for a competitive school or you're looking at a career that is, you have kind of lofty goals and dreams in terms of leadership and where you want to be, anybody that is in high leadership positions is going to know these universities. The ones that most of you have not heard from are the liberal arts schools. They are fantastic, just as good as Yale and Harvard and whatnot. And because they're a lot smaller, they may have and not as popular. They're still just as generous with their financial aid packages, and they may have a higher acceptance rate. So again, if you are looked at as a super scholar, keep an open mind and explore all of these universities. And keep in mind that a lot of them talk about being liberal arts schools, and then you think, well, but I want to study something in science and math, so I'm not going to look at liberal arts schools. Liberal arts is an approach to learning and education and instruction. It's not necessarily a discipline. So many of these schools still have science and technology and STEM degrees, just with the liberal arts approach, which actually makes you a better writer.
Yep.
Overall.
And also that data that we just showed, again, is from class of 2020. We don't have the updated class of 2021. We don't have a specific date when that will happen. It will be in the fall before applications are to be due and those types of deadlines. So we will be updating those spreadsheets as soon as we can. Yes, okay, perfect. So applications, There are a wide variety of ways to apply to college. The most recognizable ones and the ones that have the most colleges attached to them is one, the common application. There's about 950 schools nationwide that are on this one application site. The next popular one is Coalition app. There's about 600 or 700 now. It's growing in popularity. You'll see that colleges, your screen changed, Mrs.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. You will see that because both are gaining popularity, I'll choose Florida State, for instance. Florida State is on the Common app, Florida State is on the Coalition app, and Florida State has its own institutional app. Just because there are 3 ways to apply to the university, you need to pick one version to apply and only apply to them once. Because there isn't a better way or a way that they prefer more than the other. If they're on multiple, then that just means they want access to multiple types of students around the nation. So just please know, pick one way to apply and stick to that way. But we'll speak specifically on Common and Coalition right now. So there's an application that you're applying to these colleges, to a 4-year college. Typically, that's what we're focusing on, but we will speak about how to apply to a state college in a moment. But to a 4-year bachelor's program, they're going to be evaluating you in many different forms. One piece is the general application that you're going to be filling out, but you'll also have SAT and ACT scores to upload. You'll have your transcript. Some, if not all, have an essay requirement or personal statement requirement, or even additional supplemental requirements to write about, and some require recommendation letters. I'll say our public universities in Florida, UF, UCF, FSU, all the public ones in the matrix we just spoke about, do not require a recommendation letter outside of New College. I believe New College is the only public school that requires it. Some private schools in Florida do require it, but if you're just planning on submitting an application to our public universities in Florida, please do not worry about needing a recommendation letter. You don't need to really stay on which colleges require a recommendation letter or not. Whenever you set up your account in Common App and Coalition, which will happen on August 1st, it will specifically, you'll be adding colleges to your profile, and then it will say, does this college require a letter of rec? Does it not? Just about all of your school counselors are going to be writing something for you on your behalf, as well as providing supplemental information, whether it be a school profile or being able to upload your transcript for you. So there is a lot that will happen behind the scenes, but just know that there are some pieces that you are required to do. The best piece of advice that we can provide if you're going to apply to multiple schools through Common App or multiple schools through the Coalition is be proactive, meaning every school has a wide variety of different due dates. We are human beings. We have a limit of our knowledge. We don't know about every single due date and every single requirement. We do our best to be on top of everything, but you being organizing and researching and being proactive on the due dates would really help and be beneficial to you. Know about the schools if you're a journalism major and that is your passion and you are applying to, let's say, technology-driven college and they don't have your major, you just need to do a little bit of research to yourself before you take the time to fill out an application. Start early. We cannot stress this enough. We'll go through a timeline and kind of what senior year looks like. Senior year is a lot of fun, but the first 9 weeks are a little jam-packed with the amount of things that you're going to be doing. And then write down username and passwords and follow up. There's going to be a lot of things that you're juggling and paying attention to, and we're here to support you.
And you're going to be receiving emails with a ton of information. It's going to be very dense. So you need to read them twice, take notes on the highlights of what you're expected to do, and again, respond and ask questions. You at each of our schools, the rep for that particular school is going to come and visit. So you'll probably be able to have the information of that rep and you'll have a direct contact. But when in doubt, there's always the admissions at and then the name of the university. So you'll have that too. We have two questions on the chat. Can rec letters be written generically, or do they need to be written for each specific college? They can be written generically, especially if they're going to be submitted through Common and Coalition. The same thing is going to happen with your essay, and we have the essay workshop coming up. But yes, they can keep it generic. In fact, I would encourage you to ask your teacher to just end it with, I recommend the student for admission to, for college admissions and scholarships, and that way you can use that same letter if you need it to be submitted for scholarship applications as well. We have another question. Common App opens on August 1st. When do you recommend that we submit? Via the Common App. So I mean, as soon as you're ready, you can go ahead and submit. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to find out earlier, especially for schools that have one deadline for submitting the application and one notification deadline. The rolling admission schools, if you're already academically competitive and you're happy with your application, the earlier you submit it, the quicker you'll get a turnaround on a decision. So UCF, USF, UNF, they'll usually let you know fairly quickly as to what the decision is. Those are really good questions. Keep them coming.
Yep, and specifically speaking about Common App, it opens August 1st. So FSU and UF are the, best well-known schools in Florida. Their application does open in August, but their priority deadline is November 1st. For those two schools, I would recommend maybe end of September, middle of October, submitting an application to them, because you might need to increase your SAT scores or your ACT scores. But a rolling admission school like USF, USF, University of North Florida, and so on, I would say end of August, early September, if you're ready, because rolling admissions colleges, every day that goes by, the less available seats are there, whereas UF and FSU evaluates everybody at the same time. So there's no rush for them.
So a few things to consider. With regards to your GPA, it's really important that you, as Ms. Bateman said, understand the difference between weighted and unweighted. Universities will recalculate your GPA based on your core classes. Most of them will. Some of them will not. FGCU takes your Orange County transcript exactly how it looks, and they will, accept you or deny you based on that. So in terms of strategy, if you are ready and you're happy with your GPA, then by all means. But let's say you took a class over the summer, that's not calculated into your current GPA, so you may want to wait until that's calculated in and then resubmit afterwards. So you have some kind of wiggle room. Now, there are different application cycles. We're kind of talking mostly about the public universities. As we said, UCF, FIU, USF, FGCU, and UNF have rolling admissions or some type of rolling admissions, which means that as soon as they have all the pieces of your application, they're going to send it to committee and make a decision and let you know. Usually that may take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. If you wait after November 1st, because of UF and FSU, that's when a lot of people go ahead and just send it to all the other schools. So they get a backlog of applicants, which means that it usually ends up taking them a little bit later to submit that, to give you the decision, excuse me. But if the earlier, with rolling admissions, the earlier the better.
What I will say, within Common App, if you have multiple schools in your profile, you don't have to hit the submit button once and your application goes at one time. You get to actually individually apply to the schools in your timeline, even though it's the same application. So just know you do not have to wait for all your applications to be submitted at one time. You can individually send them at multiple times throughout your first 9 weeks.
Good point. And to that point, you don't have to wait for the rec letter or the counselor stuff to be in. When you are ready to submit, you submit. The counselor will send their information separately. The teacher will send their rec letter separately. So you just worry about what your deadline is. Perfect. The counselor's deadline is not the same as the student's deadline.
Correct.
Now, there are schools that offer the option of early action and early decision. Early action and early decision are schools that have one deadline and then one notification date. The difference between early action and early decision is early action, you submit earlier and you find out earlier if you're accepted, but it is non-binding, which means you still have other schools that you can apply to, and you can still wait until you make your decision. Early decision is binding, which means you apply early. You actually have to sign an additional form that says, if I'm accepted here, this is where I'm going, I can afford it, and I'm not applying anywhere else. And then they'll let you know whether you're in or not. So that's kind of the main difference. Of course, there's other nuances and more detail, but on the surface level, that's what you need to know. Early action, you apply early, find out if you got in early. Early decision, you apply early, but if you're accepted, it's binding, and that's where you're going.
And just know the Florida universities do not have early action or early decision. It's regular decision, which is UF and FSU, or rolling admission. So early action and early decision are out-of-state colleges.
And private schools.
Yes.
And then a lot of them, you're going to see the word priority deadline. So for example, UCF has rolling admissions, but they also have a priority deadline. And that is for scholarship consideration. So you definitely want to get your applications in by that priority deadline, because that means that the university is guaranteeing that they're going to consider you for scholarships. If you submit it afterwards, they may or may not have money left over in terms of scholarships. Okay. SAT and ACT, make sure you plan ahead. You have an August SAT, and then we're taking the October SAT at each of our school sites. That one is free. ACT, there's a few in October and in September. All the universities are going to have a question that says, do you plan on continuing testing? And if you're not satisfied with your score, usually you can say yes and then submit your test scores after the application has been submitted. For UF and FSU, I don't encourage you to wait. Like, the latest test in my mind that you could potentially take is that November test. I wouldn't encourage you to count on submitting a score that comes later. And of course, make sure that you do test prep. You have two great resources that are free. One of them is Khan Academy, and then the other one is Turk. Every media center has the Testing Educational Reference Center. You can do test prep for both SAT, ACT, the ASVAB for those of you that want to go into the military, AP tests, which a lot of people don't know about. And I don't know about the other high schools, but at Winter Park, once you create your account and you have that, you can even get graduate level tests. Like, you can go back to that account and practice for the MCAT or the GRE or even the LSAT if you want to go to law school. So, so definitely look into that. It's one of those little known resources that is really beneficial. Okay. Bridges to Success. It's one of those things similar to Super Scholars. You're going to get an email if you're a Bridges to Success candidate. And we're going to invite you to come to a workshop so that you can gain information on this. It is a transition program for students that have a middle GPA. If you're kind of between a 2.5 and a 3.2, you have financial need, and maybe other risk factors. You're a first-generation college student, or you come from a single-parent household, and they will take all that into consideration. If you're accepted into the Bridges program, they will provide tutoring, they will provide workshops, they will provide mentoring opportunities, and then after you complete all the program requirements, they will reimburse your tuition back to you for those 2 first full years that you spent at Valencia. So there's a lot more information to go over, but I do want to tell you, if you get an email about Bridges from one of us, make sure that you don't ignore it and that you come to the workshop to learn about it, because it is a great opportunity. It's a very structured program, but it is a great opportunity.
So Valencia offers like a wide variety of different degrees. I know we spent a little bit of time on 4-year options, but Valencia is one of the best well-known state colleges around Central Florida. Funny enough, they're not a community college. They actually have 4-year degrees. They have a business degree that is in line, just about the same business degree as UCF, as well as they do have a 4-year nursing degree. So if you go to Valencia College, you could earn an entire bachelor's degree with them as well. But they are known for their associate's arts degree, which is if you are starting at a state school, whether it be Valencia College, Seminole State, even Tallahassee Community College, you're going to want to do an AA degree, which is can very much transition to a 4-year program in the state of Florida. If you are part of a like vocational or Orange Technical College program in high school, or you want to be in a specific I don't know, electrical field, welding field, I'm trying to think, an HVAC field. Some of those degrees are in Associates of Science classes. Some do transfer to a traditional 4-year college, but most of the time an Associates in Science degree is limited in general ed, and it doesn't always transfer very well to a 4-year degree. You can get a technical certificate from Valencia, just typical of like Orange County Technical College. They very much mirror each other, and they actually have a program that you can actually start at OTC and transition to Valencia College as well. But just know that Valencia is not just the dual enrollment college. They have a wide variety of great options at a very affordable price here in Central Florida.
And as she said, the case is the same for Seminole State and some of the other local schools. We have some really good questions on the chat, and I do want to address the ASVAB. Each of our schools is going to have a different date for that, so we'll announce it on Canvas and our social media and all that good stuff. And we usually do 2 per year, one in the fall, one in the spring.
Yep.
And we will do application sessions for those of you that want to go to Valencia, for example. Valencia will come here to each of our schools, and we'll do an application lab. And again, similar to applying for a 4 university, except this one is a lot quicker, and you'll be able to knock it out usually in the one sitting. So I didn't mention super scoring, and that was kind of one of the questions. The SAT and the ACT, you can take and should take it multiple times. If you recall, you took the SAT in March of your junior year and the ACT in April. You're going to have a second opportunity to do that now in senior year. And that is important because universities will take your best section score and recalculate a super score. Now, because of COVID, a lot of universities have gone test optional. The Florida schools have not. So you need to make sure that you're still sitting for the test if you're applying to Florida universities. And if you have a competitive score, don't be afraid to send it to the universities, because you're just giving them one more piece of information in your favor. Again, if you are above that academic profile that we saw earlier today. All right. Okay, so for those of you that are not college bound, you are looking for something else, but you still want to be able to gain some money. So the military is an option that a lot of you are going to consider. I want to point out a few things. You can direct enlist full-time, but you also have a part-time option, which a lot of students don't really explore. With the reserves and with the National Guard, your commitment is 1 weekend a month and then 2 weeks out of the year for training. So you will go to basic training. You will do your school for your job. And then after that, that's all you do. And they will guarantee that they will give you scholarships. They will give you a salary, a part-time salary, but a salary. You will get benefits. So it is a great part-time option while you are going to school. And of course, if you go the full-time option, then you can certainly do that, and they both will guarantee scholarship dollars. Know that there are 6 branches now instead of 5. The Space Force is the new one. It is still kind of under the umbrella of the Air Force, but that is an option. For those of you that are interested in the military but want to go to college, that is your #1 goal, but you like the military aspect, an ROTC program is probably a best bet for you. It works similar to the ROTC programs in high school, where you take your core classes in your major, but then you take your ROTC electives. You do, PT with your class or personal training, physical training. Many of them do have scholarships. And if you are an academically um, uh, competitive student, the military academies are also something to consider. They are highly competitive, but they are 100% free. It's like the lottery of scholarships. They will pay for absolutely everything, including giving you a living stipend. So the military recruiters will come to our schools to talk to you multiple times. We also encourage you to talk to all of them. The majority of you are thinking of one particular branch because you know somebody who's there, or you have the legacy where your mom or dad went to that, or were in that particular branch. Keep an open mind. You are not your parents, you are not your friends, you are you. So find something that is a good fit for you. So do your research, talk to the different recruiters, etc. That being said, the one test you do have to have for any and all of these options is going to be the ASVAB. And for the military academies, your SAT and ACT scores are going to be important as well. But the higher the score, the better. There is test prep for the ASVAB through Turk, as I said before. And keep in mind with ROTC and the military academies, especially if you have scholarship money, you're most likely going to, not most likely, you're definitely committing to enlisting in the military afterwards. And depending on the scholarship, you're committing to a certain number of years. Traditionally, with the academies, you're committing to enlisting for up to 7 years, and with the ROTC programs for 3 or 4 years, depending on your contract. And then we have apprenticeships. So apprenticeships are usually, you can learn more about the apprenticeships through Orange Technical, because those organizations have partnered with Orange Tech to talk about those particular programs. And basically, you are shadowing somebody in that field. And while you shadow them, many times you're going to get paid. You're going to learn as you go. And then at the end of your program, you will take the licensure exam for whatever that particular program is. There's construction programs, electricians programs, AC programs, HVAC, daycare, plumbing, etc.
The state of Florida is actually broken up into regions as well, and you can simply Google Florida apprenticeship programs, or Central Florida. There's like 6 or 7 counties that are in Region 5, let's say. So it's not even that you have to do an apprentice program where you live. It could be anywhere in the state of Florida, and like Mrs. Mora just explained, you can get paid and learn at the same time. So it's great programs to look into if you're not the traditional graduate from high school and go straight into an academic area. Apprenticeship or Orange Technical College is a great program.
And by the way, plumbers get paid more per hour than what I get paid.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Right. Some cool resources that you guys have at your disposal are obviously college and career exploration tools like SCORE, which is located on your launch pad. Most of you, I know at Windermere, you guys use it a lot. At Winter Park, we've kind of, it's been hit and miss, but we're definitely going to hit it hard this year. So, so it is your college and career exploration tool where you can look for information on universities. You can look for universities that you may not have heard of that are a good fit for you based on what you are looking for. So it'll generate a list based on different filters that you enter. And then one of the most important things that is there is called the U-Science assessment. All of you should complete it. I don't know if you'll have time in the classroom to do it. I'm doing my best to, at least at our school, to get you to do it. That career assessment tells you careers that are a good fit for you based on your interests, but also based on the way your brain works, the way you learn, and of course, your aptitudes and your skills. And then you can use that to then narrow down your list. Okay, so this tells me that architecture may be a good field for me. What schools have architecture as a program? So if you're still completely kind of undecided, you don't even know which way to start by doing the U-Science assessment, and then we can kind of work our way and narrow the field. Next magazine is offered by the state of Florida, and that is basically a magazine specifically for seniors. and it has a ton of information on what to expect in your first year in college, what's happening in college, and it has information about the state schools, the universities, public, private, the community colleges, etc. It also has a list of scholarships usually so that you know which ones are for the state of Florida. Um, Valencia's career coach is kind of cool because it tells you not just how much money the average person is earning in Central Florida, but what is the job demand for that particular job that you may be interested in pursuing. So, like it has everything from engineering to retail. If you're interested in retail, you like working at a clothing store, how much is the average person earning in Central Florida? What is the job demand for that in the next 5 years? You want to know the job demand in the next 5 years, guys. That's practical for you because in 5 years, you're going to be in the workforce. So definitely take a look at that. My Florida Shines offers a lot of the same that I just mentioned, but that's the one sponsored by the state of Florida. For scholarships, you're going to receive information from each of us on local scholarships that you can apply for. But there are also larger search engines that you can use. And we do have a workshop coming up on learning about financial aid that you'll be able to gain a little bit more information about just what financial aid is and what are some good sites to pursue.
So the end of summer, beginning of senior year is a perfect time to organize yourself and get ready for what life is about to happen. We have about 2.5 weeks till you all start, and there's a great amount of things that you can do to help your first 9 weeks of your senior year. Most importantly is, what are you going to do after high school? College, military, tech school, workforce. This is the time to start brainstorming those ideas, because if you've picked up, you're going to apply to a 2 or a 4-year college pretty much in the first 9 weeks of senior year. So really knowing what your post-secondary plans are after high school is going to be key. Exploring SCORE, we can't talk enough about the free program that you have on Launchpad. If you haven't registered for SAT or ACT, you have a wide variety of dates over the next 4 months that you can take that. Do not sign up for the beginning October SAT on a Saturday, because Orange County will pay for another free one for you for every senior. It's going to happen, I believe, the second week in October. So usually there's a Saturday SAT before the Wednesday that you get for free, like when you took it in your junior year. So just know you're going to get another one in October. If you haven't visited college campuses, now that we are kind of, I guess, have a handle on the pandemic, a lot of the colleges have reopened their campuses for visits. If you are still feel weary of going out in big public areas, they still have a lot of their virtual presentations and virtual options for you to view. Let's see here. Preparing and updating your resume. That's specific to like your high school career, meaning your accomplishments you've received, or your academic achievements, whether that be straight A's throughout your high school career, and work experiences. Clubs and organizations is a great thing to put on your resume. Leadership opportunities. Florida State does require a resume a part of their application. And so if a school does not require it, it's great to just even formulate all of your, like, what did you do 9th grade year, 10th grade year, and so on when you start applying. Checklists and application requirements and deadlines. Like we mentioned before, we try and stay as up to date on due dates and timelines for multiple colleges around the nation, but we are limited in our knowledge. And so knowing which colleges that you want to apply to and being organized in their due dates and all of the different sliding dates around your senior year will be helpful. And lastly, our sports students, if you are a D1 or D2 possible prospect of recruiting, and if you haven't done your NCAA eligibility, you just go to ncaa.org and you start your profile.
I think we mentioned it before, but it bears mentioning again. Ideally, you're done with all your applications by November 1st, because that's when the majority of the students are gonna submit their applications. So you're gonna have a busy first 9 weeks. Does anybody have any questions? So Ms. Lorenzana put the links to some of the
Resources.
Thank you, that we have mentioned. So you guys have access to them. And as we said, we will record this, or we did record this, and we're going to be posting it on our respective Canvas pages. We will have other workshops and application labs so that you guys can come here and get help on your different applications. And again, this was kind of, it was a lot of information, but it was all kind of on the surface. So as you're getting your list together and you have more questions, please come on in and talk to us, send us an email, make an appointment. We're here for you. No, your apprenticeships, you don't have to do them while you're taking college classes. That's usually kind of in lieu of attending college. Now, there are universities that do have internship opportunities. So if you're looking at kind of work experience while you're in college, you definitely want to look at internships. And there is an office at each university that focuses on helping you look for and find internships. But the apprenticeship is what you would do in lieu of going to college.
Come to the 3 o'clock presentation, Ryan. We're here to show you the way.
But go ahead and play the lotto, and we're happy to take a cut of that. There was another question.
Mrs. Lorenzana was answering them in real time, just to let you know, Ms. Mora.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you're going to be here for the next one, we'll see you in about a minute.
Yep. Bye, everybody. Thank you.